Okay, this is the second day on a pressure fermentation with the spunding valve on my 2-gallon pale ale brew. And as you can see on the dial right there, the needle is pointing towards the bottom left, and this is the 0 to 15 psi gauge, so we're well past the 3 o'clock position, which is 15 psi. So how are we going to figure out an accurate reading of what the pressure is at this particular point? It's pretty hard to do since there's no calibrations on the bottom of the gauge. So how am I going to fix this? Stick around and we'll find out. Hello everyone, JR10 Desert Gold. I got a little DIY project lined up for today. I've been using this spunding valve from Kegland, and I think they're awesome, to be honest. This is the 15 psi version, which is their bottom of the line and probably the most useful for home brewing to an extent. I say that because the limit on calibrations on these 15 psi obviously is 15, and that pegs all the way over to the 3 o'clock position when it's under pressure. Now, if you happen to have a robust fermentation going on and the gas production is in excess of that, the needle will go past the 15 and into the, it could go all the way around if the pressure were high enough. But it does no good after 15 because you really don't know what pressure you're working at. And if you've got something like one of those PET kegs, the plastic ones, you could be doing some damage if the pressure gets too high. So I decided to order the digital Kegland gauge. When ordering these, make sure you decide which way you want to go. There's this version, and it's got a longer stem. This is a push fit barb that will work in a standalone scenario. But if you're going to be changing out your analog gauge for digital, then you want to go with this version, which has the O-ring and a much shorter stem. So what I'm going to do today is show you, hopefully, how to change this out. If you go to Kegland's website, they give a cursory description on how to do this, and it really doesn't address some of the hurdles you're going to run into. They basically imply that all you do is you take out these 2 screws and you can take out the gauge. That's not entirely true. If you take out the screws, you just take off the lens. And even that, you have to leave, like I did, you have to leave a screw in there to leverage getting it out, because it sits flush and you can't really get it out. See, you just leave enough grab room there on the screw, and this lifts right off. that's the easiest of the challenges. If you look inside here, the gauge is sitting on the floor of the valve, and there's not much in the way of space to work in there to get out the old gauge, and the only thing holding it in at this point is this O-ring. So what we're going to have to do is get the old gauge out, which is easier said than done. You're going to have to get in here and try to leverage the one side or the other with a small blade like this, and try to pull it out. And you're going to have to move it back and forth. I'm sure you can't see it, but I'm kind of rotating it a little bit to loosen it, and eventually you'll get to a point where this thing will pop out like that. Oh, I was lucky. I was expecting a much more arduous fight with it. Okay, so now we're ready to install the 90 PSI digital. But before we do that, you'll notice there's 4 screws on the bottom of this. 2 of them, with the nuts on them, are just shipping screws. So you're going to take those out, otherwise you don't have a way to install it with the screws that come with it. So what I'm going to do is hopefully get these out. There's one. And there's the other, and these screws just come out. All right, see, now we have the mounting holes open for the longer screws to mount to the valve itself. The other 2 screws that you see right there and there, these are screws holding this bottom plate in, and the only time you want to take those out is to replace the battery, which apparently has a life or a 2-year lifespan with normal use. So that's good to know. I think what I'm going to do real quick is add just a tiny bit of silicone grease on the O-ring, make sure it stays nice and supple. And you just orient it however you want. I'm going to leave it in the standard configuration with the screws in their original position. And you just press it down. And there we have it. It's seated. Okay, so you make sure that it's seated all the way down, and I'm glad I put the silicone grease in there because it made it a little easier to seat the entire gauge. So we'll go ahead and see if we can get these back in without too much of a And there you have it. It is mounted, and let's see if we can get this thing to go. So the red button turns it on and off. The yellow button, if you hold down for a few seconds, it turns the backlight on. And right now it's in PSI mode, which is what I'm gonna keep it in, or you could click it once, and that's bars. One more time, and this is KLA. But back to PSI, and you got it. It's all set to go. I love it because it's much more accurate than the analog system, and obviously since it goes up to 90 psi, it'll function in more environments than what the 15 can do. That was simple once you get past all the little nuances of getting the old one out. I'm gonna probably save this. I don't know why, because it'll just be a backup for the digital, or I mean the analog. But that's it. It is now digital, and all I need to do is add the ball lock for the gas side, and it's done deal. Hope that helps. If you have any questions, post them below. Have fun, be safe. JR10 difficult out.